to see.
Hello. What's
What's up, y'all?
happening? Happy Tuesday
Hmm.
and ninth day of January. Why does this look like that? Did you wipe that down? Why does it look like this?
You all right, bro? No, I didn't
You were
wipe it
just
down.
talking about my situation and you ain't even got that together. Anyway, welcome everybody.
What's up, y'all?
We are coming to you live on this ninth day of January 2024. First thing I want to say, and then we're going to share with you some signs of a toxic marriage. And we're going to start out with a quick devotional to get us centered. But before I do that, before we move forward with that, you need to go to blamchallenge.com. BLAM
BlamChallenge.com.
challenge.com to sign up for our upcoming New Year, New Marriage Challenge kicking off, y'all.
Hmm.
January the 15th through the 19th. It's a 5-day challenge. We're going to work on the funkiness. We're going to work on the communication issues, the conflict management. Nobody connecting, ain't nobody booed up. We
Yeah,
coming into 2024 and we got to get right. Don't you want to be right?
I want to be right.
Don't you want to be in relationship?
I want to be.
You know what I'm saying? Right in relationship. But what
Yes.
we often say is, do you want to be right?
Or do you want to be
Or
in a
do you want to
relationship?
be in a relationship?
Hmm.
Which one? So we're going to talk all about that at our New Year, New Marriage Challenge. It's going to be great. We want to see y'all, talk to y'all, hang out with y'all. So go to blamchallenge.com to sign up for that.
Yeah. Hey, y'all. This right here is my lovely, my incredible, my beautiful, my sensational, my spectacular, my indelible wife, Iana.
Indelible.
Hmm.
This right here is my homie. It's my sweetheart. It's my man. It's my boo baby. My baby daddy, all of my children got this daddy right here. He is the everything for me. This is my husband, y'all, my business partner, Aiza. We're the co-founders of Black Love and Marriage, and we do this work. So let's first start out by doing this devotional. First of all, do y'all have this? This is the old one. Do you have this devotional? This will never go. What is it? Out of
If you
style.
got it, type a one in the chat, y'all.
This will never go out of style. This is
Type a one in the chat if
so
you got it.
good. And it's by day, so I'm always feeling like God is trying to talk to me today because it's January 9th. And really it's interesting because today's devotional, I just glimpsed at it. It seems like it goes a little bit in alignment with what we're talking about.
Oh yeah.
So if you're just joining us, we're going to talk about knowing if you're in a toxic marriage, some signs of a toxic marriage. But we're going to start out with Iyanla's Acts of Faith, um, daily meditations for people of color, this devotional for today.
Hmm.
All right, so January 9th. You may not know how to raise your self esteem, but you definitely know how to stop lowering it. And that is a quote by Awo Osun Kunle. Self esteem is a sense of value and worth that comes from a positive self image. Self esteem begins with you and extends to all that you do. With the belief that your best is always good enough, no one but you can destroy your self esteem. You destroy your self esteem when you do not keep your word, when you do not honor the agreements and commitments you make. If you say yes when you really mean no, when you don't follow your first thought, it does not matter what your environment may be. It is of little consequence what your past has been. It is not your concern what others may be saying or doing. It is only in your mind that you build and destroy your self esteem.
Mm.
I am as great as I think I am. I love that devotional for
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you know why I think it connects, babe? Because this is talking about self esteem today and how it all starts and ends with us in terms of how we see ourselves. But when we're in a toxic marriage, or if we are dealing with toxicity or accepting things that we should not be accepting, that always comes down to how we see ourselves. Because everything that we experience in our life is a reflection of the standards we're willing to set or not. And there is no judgment here because many folks are in situations that they know they should not be in, or that you don't want to be in, or you want to be better. And God hasn't told you to move from that space, but you
Hmm.
also are not doing more and you don't even know what to do. So, no judgment, but you know that this ain't where it's at. It's like the quote of the you may not know how to raise your self-esteem, but you definitely know how to stop lowering it.
Mm.
You may not know how to fix your situation, but you absolutely know what you need to stop doing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's important. I don't know what this thing is. Okay, so we're going to talk about five signs you're in a toxic marriage. Again, if you're just joining us, go to blamchallenge.com so we can hang out together in this new year for 5 days straight. And it's a free challenge that we're doing on communication, conflict management, the funky stuff, how to get back in alignment and be connected with your sweetheart. And also make sure that you're taking care of self, right? Relationship work is personal work. So that's always important.
Before we hop into the 5 things, I just want to say really quickly that what you just read to me speaks of if you're in a relationship existing where there's a lack of boundaries.
Uh-huh.
And so we speak about that often, and we encounter folks. Like, we work with individuals, couples on a regular basis, and we got a whole community of people that we work with. And one of the things that we lift up is that it's critical to have boundaries in your relationship. And a lot of people struggle with this. A lot of people struggle with boundaries, y'all. Type a 2 in the chat if you struggle with boundaries. Like, there's a number of people that are in situations in which they know that the relationship is toxic, but then they're still remaining they're still choosing to navigate the relationship in the same way because they struggle with boundaries. Type a 2 in the chat if you struggle with boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, it's hard, especially if you grew up in an environment where you watched your mom struggle with boundaries, where you watched your father struggle with boundaries. You're watching your aunties, uncles, and you don't really know how to establish the boundary. But even if you establish it, you have a hard time holding it.
You draw the line.
And so draw the line. And some of y'all be
Hold the
drawing
line.
these porous lines
You don't hold it.
and you just don't hold it. Like, it's easy to get through. And so that devotional that my wife just read, it really speaks to the fact that, like, yo, you got to take care of you. And a part of you taking care of you is being able to assess where you are and then establishing some boundaries so you can protect where you are and then create the environment so that you can grow to become a different person and a better person. And so again, it begins with boundaries, y'all. But here's some signs that you exist in a toxic marriage right now.
All right. So number one, you got number one in you.
Yeah. One of the signs that I want to lift up is that if there is consistent, reliable, and predictable dishonesty in your marriage, you're in a toxic marriage.
Hold up, Ness. You gave all them adjectives. Do that again.
I said if you're in a consistent, reliable, and predictable relationship or marriage where there's dishonesty, you're in a toxic marriage. Some of y'all know what I'm talking about. Like, there's not just empty promises, but it just be some of the same old dumb stuff where your man or your woman are just lying just a lie. And they think that they're pulling the wool over your eyes, but the reality is that you see what's going on. And again, because there's a lack of boundaries, you excuse the behavior. You enable, you participate, you allow it to take place. And so again, the dishonesty may even feel more comfortable for you because the alternative may appear to be scary, but it's toxic, sis. It's toxic, bro. Like, you're running into the same old dishonest, manipulative, lying behavior. That's a toxic marriage.
All right, y'all. That's number one. Number two, this is another sign that you're in a toxic marriage. Constant criticism. If you are constantly criticizing, if your partner's constantly criticizing, you all are belittling each other, it's almost like a competition. Sometimes we get couples in front of us and I'm like, well, what team is y'all on? Is you on the team? Are you on the team? Are y'all going in the same direction? Are y'all on the same team or not? But literally, the posture that you hold in your marriage and the way you roll is one of defensiveness, because you like, I know you coming. I know you getting ready to come for me, right? And in some ways, we don't even see ourselves and recognize that you both are doing that with one another. You're not looking for ways to validate. You're not looking for ways to uplift, to elevate, to say thank you for the small things. You just like, and even if they do something, you kind of give them a little like, you know what I mean? Like, you just get into that place of what we call negative sentiment override. In relationships, when you have negative sentiment override, that means the negative energy and thoughts and sentiments that have stacked up in your relationship over time are now overriding even the good stuff that your partner is bringing forward. You can't even perceive it because you won't override with the negativity. So constant criticism creates that type of energy, and that is toxic. That's toxic because nobody wants to be in a place where they don't feel wanted, where they don't feel loved, where they don't feel seen, at least some of the time. You know what I'm saying? So that's number two. Number two.
Number three, y'all. Number three, you're in a toxic marriage when there is emotional abuse present.
Yeah.
And some of y'all are in spaces where ain't nothing but a thing to call your man a no good, to call your wife a, some of y'all in a relationship or in a space where, again, there's this energy, this pervasive energy that exists where you're talking down to your wife, you're talking down to your man, to your husband. You're engaging them in such a way where there is constant criticism. You're belittling them with the words that you're using. You're not edifying and uplifting your man or your woman. Like, they just feel bad when they're in your presence. And so you're just sucking the life out of them slowly with your words, with your energy. Like, have you existed in a marriage or in a relationship in which you felt like everything that was done is your fault?
That's that emotional manipulation.
Yeah, your man or your woman is like placing everything on you and making you responsible for the negativity or the pain that exists in a relationship. Like, they're just constantly placing that in your lap, and they don't lift you up. They don't empower you. They don't speak life to you. They don't actually advocate for your goals. They're just taking away, leeching, sucking, draining the life out of you.
Yeah.
That's a toxic marriage, y'all. If there's no empowerment and there's only disempowerment, and it's not even like necessary. They can say one thing. Here's the piece. This is where the manipulation comes into play. And we'll get into the other piece of what this actually looks like later on. But we'll talk about it next year. In the challenge next week. Go to blamchallenge.com. Blamchallenge.com. We're going to expand on a lot of this next week during the challenge. But here's the thing. Like, they talk a good game. They might even at times say the right things. Yeah. They know how to dangle the carrot in front of you. They do. But you know what you feel, sis. Mm-hmm. You know what you feel, bro. Like, your heart is not lying to you. You know it don't feel good there. You know his or her energy has been stank. You know the negativity is pervasive and it's just permeating the atmosphere. It does not feel good. You're in a toxic marriage when there's emotional abuse.
Kudos to you on YouTube. She said they're going through that now, ended the relationship, and now moving back to your home state. I'm sending you positive energy as you do what you need to do to shift out of that toxic situation in 2024. That's good. That's good. Also wanted to shout out Charles Jannard. Am I saying your last name right, Charles? He said, sometimes you're not in love anymore, and that will cause the person to abuse each other because they are afraid to move on. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, Charles, because a whole lot of people is just sitting in the same situation because the finances are convenient. You're like, well, where am I going to go live? How am I going to do this? You want the kids to still see y'all, even though they feel all the negative energy. Right, and we can't figure out the logistics of how we can actually make the move. And I'm not coming for anybody because that's real life stuff. Like, that's real life stuff. But I think at the end of the day, if you know that this is not the relationship, this is not the marriage, it needs to be done, then all eyes need to be looking towards how you make that shift. You can't stay in toxicity. Mm-hmm. It will permeate you, and after a while, you won't even recognize it. You won't even know. You'll think it's normal. And you'll think that it's okay, and you'll start to adjust and settle. Mm-hmm. So what number was that? You just number 3. We're sharing 5 signs that you're in a toxic marriage. This is number 4. And number 4 is controlling behavior. Mm-hmm. Controlling behavior. So if your partner, this is one of the things I think is so interesting about marriage is that when we talk about controlling behavior. What was the first one? The first one was dishonesty and like gaslighting, and that kind of thing. We know that we are supposed to be there for our spouse, cover them, stand in the gap for them. So I think sometimes these kinds of things can, and also we do believe that both should be yielding to one another, submitting one to the other. Mm-hmm. As you both submit to God. And so what does that look like? It's like people get confused, like, well, I don't, I want to make sure that I'm making room for my husband. I want him to lead. I want to submit to God. And we also submit to each other, all of those things. But at the same time, I need to have boundaries. I need to make sure that I'm not just going for the okie doke. You know what I'm saying? So I want to just acknowledge that can be difficult. But if you are starting from a place where we started this morning talking about our own self-esteem and how we see ourselves and knowing our worth, and we start there, then everything that extends from you should attract that kind of energy. And you will not accept behavior that is out of order. It doesn't mean that you're like, I'm done. It means that you've got to draw a boundary. So controlling behavior looks like, trying to control your decisions, trying to control, like my husband and I, we talk about, decisions and things that I want to do, things that he wants to do. But we are definitely checking in with one another about how the other feels. But he doesn't give me permission to do anything. And I don't give him permission to do anything. We are collaborating in our lives. We are working together in collaboration with the Most High, both of us. And I absolutely want to know what he feels, what he thinks, his opinion. All of those things is very important to me because he is my best friend. He is my rock and he is my lover. But there's a different kind of energy. It's not controlling. I feel empowered by the kind of partnership that my husband and I have, and I hope that you feel empowered, even though sometimes I can have a strong opinion.
Yeah. I mean, even with that though, I still feel empowered because like we can't shy away from accountability.
Yeah.
We can't shy away from ownership. And so, yeah, my wife, she do be bringing it sometimes. Not in a negative way, but just in a way to help me to see some things. Like as a man, I'm not afraid to admit that sometimes I need help seeing some things. Ladies, I know sometimes y'all need help seeing some things too. Type a 3 in the chat, sisters, if you feel like you need help seeing some things sometimes.
Yeah.
Raise your hand if you're in the room. I said that just for you.
I know you want me to do it. You're like, and do you need help too?
Yeah.
I mean,
so the reality is that like my wife, she'll share some things with me, and I'm not, immune to accountability and ownership. Like she'll remind me, like, so what you gonna own? What in this can you own? And sometimes it's in a joking manner, and then sometimes she'll be like a little
I be
bit more
joking,
serious.
but you know how you do that joking with would you be for real though?
yeah, but no, it's needed in a relationship. And so what my wife is lifting up, that piece what was the last point? It was around control.
Mm-hmm. Oh, control.
That piece right there is important, y'all. You want to make sure that if you're in a relationship, like my wife said, it's not that I lord over her, she lords over me. There's collaboration that's present.
Yeah.
There's constant communication that's taking place. There's a connection that's present, which leads me to point number 5. There's a lack of intimacy in your marriage.
Emotional intimacy.
Physical intimacy.
Oh.
All of that.
Okay. You talking about sex?
Are you supposed
to say that? I can't say that word. Okay.
I'm just talking about, you trying to jump into my point. You trying to control my point. Like
I thought that's where you were going. That's the first thing that came to my mind.
Why that's the first thing that came to your mind?
Because connection is even sex is emotional intimacy. Mm-hmm. Okay, go ahead. Just take the point. All right, go on.
So if there's a lack of intimacy in your marriage, if you're intentionally withholding, mm-hmm. if you're starving your man out or starving your woman out because you and your feelings, you're in a toxic relationship, y'all. And again, so you might say, well, that right there, it is in contradiction to what it is that you lifted up earlier in terms of drawing boundaries in a relationship. Like you can be in a healthy relationship, have boundaries, and still at the same time to engage in forms of intimacy. It does not mean that you got to be getting busy. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you got to always be getting busy. But what I am saying is that, like, if you are intentionally starving your man out or starving your woman out, and there's efforts that are being made, and you're in a reasonably or relatively decent relationship, then that's some toxicity that you're introducing. Because and the reason why I'm saying this is because, like, if you have capacity and you're choosing not to engage because you in your feelings, I'm not saying because like you made a decision that you ain't doing this, you drawing a very strong line based off of a pervasive pattern of abuse in a relationship.
But a lot of people feel like if I'm saying if we're in a funky place, we're not about to be rolling around in the bed.
I know, but here's the piece though, y'all.
Bubbles,
like everybody has a responsibility. So I get that if you're in a funky space, you're not about to be rolling around in the bed. But how long are you allowing you all to be in a funky space?
Right.
Like, what are you doing to shift that dynamic? And so if you're saying you're doing nothing, you're waiting only on him, or he's waiting only on you, then you're partly responsible for maintaining the dysfunction that exists in a relationship. Right. So instead of constantly looking at him like it's his responsibility or her responsibility, sis, you take ownership. Bruh, you take ownership.
And so again, like in so long.
Yeah, and then you make it about somebody else's responsibility. Like the mess is partly created by you.
Right.
Whoever you are, man or woman, the mess is partly created by you. And so I get you drawing a line to hold a line for a moment, but if you've been holding that line for months, for years, why are you still in the relationship?
Even for weeks.
If you made a decision, I'm not going to do it with him for months, for years, why are you still doing what why are you still there? Why haven't y'all elevated this, escalated the situation that is in front of somebody who can provide some sense of support? Like you're saying, I'm drawing a line, and you're comfortable staying behind a line, and you're comfortable not engaging because it's convenient for you to be in a relationship versus doing the work of looking at self, looking at y'all, and then fixing what's effed up.
Yeah.
Stop being stuck.
It's a choice.
It is a choice. And so again, if there's a lack of intimacy in a relationship, and y'all ain't doing nothing about it, y'all are just okay with it being what it is, that's some relationship toxicity, y'all. Mm-hmm. Your marriage is in a toxic space. It needs to be cleaned up. You need to get attention. You need to get help. And you need to come to the challenge next time.
Yes. Bubbles on TikTok said, how do you make a marriage stronger? Is that, that's TikTok. How do you make a marriage stronger? Come to the challenge. BlamChallenge.com, y'all. So that we can work on connection. We can work on communication. Communication is really, really big. People think it's, oh, they this, they that. Everybody got a different style. Everybody got a different way of doing things. And when you learn more about that and learn about the style of others, then you actually can start to navigate more like a samurai. Mm-hmm. You see how I do that? Yeah. Navigate like a warrior who knows what they're doing versus somebody who just wet behind the ears like, what? What are you talking about? I don't even know, like, what happened? Like, I didn't even mean it. Why you take it that way? Okay, Pow OTR said, I just signed up and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, if you sign up, drop a comment in the chat so we can shout you up.
Love
and
it.
if you upgrade to VIP, like we asked this question, so here's the piece. Do you even know whether or not your marriage is toxic? Like you might know, or you might have an idea, but do you know whether or not your marriage is thriving, surviving?
Well, yeah.
Or is it dying? Do you know? Like if you make the decision to join the challenge and upgrade to VIP,
which means you don't have to participate on Facebook.
Yeah, you can participate on Zoom. Yeah, participate on Zoom. We're actually gonna give you. We're gonna give you a marriage wellness quiz. You can answer the questions in the quiz. Just know where you are. Yeah. Know where you are. Know what your status is, and we're gonna be providing you with resources and tools to help you navigate through this space. Like again, go to blamchallenge.com. Blam Challenge. You ain't gotta guess. We're going to hold your hand through this process. You ain't got to guess. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many people that have come through the doors of our challenge and have upgraded. And as a result, their relationships have been improved. Like we got testimonials upon testimonials. So again, like lack of knowledge, lack of information, lack of exposure ain't no excuse. If you're on here right now, really, the decision is yours. Right. Like you can choose to do nothing or you can choose to do something.
In 2024.
Yeah, I mean, it's really up to you. So again, go to blamchallenge.com. It's kicking off on Monday, January the 15th. Woo, woo, woo. It's about to be on and popping, yo.
And what's about to kick off right now is we on the West Coast. It's 10 o'clock. We're going to have a little late breakfast. My husband's getting ready to take me to breakfast right now. On a Tuesday morning. We're going to pause for a moment and have a little connection. And then we're going to get back to work. So everybody, be easy, be intentional in 2024. Make space for yourself. Make space for your partner. Make space for continuing to learn yourself and learn what you need to around how you build the best version of yourself and your relationship that you possibly ever could. Blamchallenge.com, y'all. We see y'all later. Oh, and I just got to say this. If you are not following Relationship Cheat Code on Instagram, our podcast launches tomorrow.
Yes.
Woo, woo. Tomorrow, our podcast launches. So go to Relationship Cheat Code on Instagram, follow, you'll get more information, where to subscribe, all that kind of stuff. All right, y'all. We'll see you on the next situation. Peace, y'all.
Peace, y'all.
Bye. I don't even know how to end that one. TikTok, we need to come on here some more because I don't even know how to fix this thing. I mean, how to even do the thing.
You hit the power button up at the top.